What's up, everybody? This is Chris, and this is my Bloodborne playthrough, and I am summoning y'all with my contact stance, because this is the end, guys. This is it. We're done after this. Well, I'm done with the game, anyways. I finally will have beaten it at this point, and I will have all the knowledge to come up with basically something I'm going to pull out of my ass. And I'll put it on video, and everybody can laugh at what I come up with, and we'll be golden. We'll be golden. But no, it'll be super fun actually try to figure out what's going on. I'm right now just looking through all my items, making sure I kind of talked about all these things. And there are some couple things I didn't look at in previous episodes, so I'm just making sure I double check on those and get that little bit of info out there, and also for myself. So one of them is the, I guess you could say, Chikaje, foreign-made weapon wielded by the royal guards who protect Annalise, Queen of the Vildbloods, at Cainhurst Castle. When the intricate rippled engravings that spans the Chikaje blade is imbrued with blood, the sword sings in scarlet hues. However, the rite eats away at the wielder's very essence. This weapon is actually, I think, a pretty powerful. I think it's mostly. It's a weird weapon. It actually uses a lot of other stats, but it does hurt you when you use it. And I think it uses all 4 stats. I want to say it uses the dex most, or skill most, I should say. In this game, it's skill, and it actually hurts you when you trick it out. So here's the Evelyn. It's basically it's what people are going to for their gun weapon if they're using guns. Lovingly named after a woman and graced with an intricate design. It was admired. It was wanted. It was wanted by the knights. Every knight wanted it. And then this is the Rosmarinus. Special weapon used by the choir. High-ranking members of the Healing Church sprays a cloud of sacred mist created by using blood-imbued quicksilver bullets as a special medium. Arios are heard wherever sacred mist is seen, proving that the mist is a heavenly blessing. O fair maiden, why is it that you weep? Who is Arios? We have not heard a damn thing about this person or this lady or whatnot, and they just pull this shit out of their ass. I'm thinking maybe some DLC might be involved there. So, silver helmet worn by the royal guards who protect Annalise, Queen of the Vildbloods, at Cainhurst Castle. This paper-thin silver armor is said to deflect blood of ill intent, and is what allows the royal guards to capture prey for their beloved queen, so that one day she may bear a child of blood. It's interesting that it's paper-thin silver armor. Is that because they want to move quickly? What's the reasoning why it's paper-thin? And we talked about the gold Ardeo last time, and this is the conical gold helm that symbolizes luminosity and ambition, and it's worn by the people for Ligarius, that crazy bastard. I'm not saying the Vildbloods are any better, but it seems like the Vildbloods had their situation put upon them, while the executioners chose theirs. This you get from Ebrietas. It was also the first great chalice brought back to the surface since the time of Bergenworth, and allowed the choir to have audience with Ebrietas. It's the cornerstone of the choir, the elite delegation of the Healing Church. So remember, we found that very top chalice actually in the menu I'm on right now. We found it in the good old church, the Church of the Good Chalice, I believe is what it was called, and we found it on the Blood-Starved Beast. Apparently we need to go back and look at that. This is the Ailing Lorraine chalice. The tragedy that struck this ailing land of Loran is said to have its roots in the scourge of the beast. Some have made the dreaded extrapolation that Yarnum may be next. So apparently this place that we haven't known about or seen, which I'm guessing is probably the Nightmare Frontier right now, because I believe the beasts that you fight there are called Loran Dark Beasts. So I think Nightmare Frontier is kind of like a vision of what happened in Loran, what could happen to Yarnum maybe. Who knows, really? You don't know much about Loran except for what's there, and that you fight Amygdala. Maybe there's some stuff you can make connections. Otherwise, I think that's the only thing I can get out of that, is that that's Loran. You got to go back there and kind of look at it. It's interesting that it's really right outside of where the Nightmare of Mensis is at. So remember, you can see the Nightmare of Mensis from the Nightmare Frontier. So if that's a vision of what Loran is or was, or what's going on there, you can't really say. But the beasts that are there are called the Loran Dark Beasts, if I remember right. So that's that. So yeah, so I figured the Loron Dark Beasts are located in Loron, and that might be just a vision of what used to be that place. Now, what anything else with that name, I don't know. Like, we can't say what that land was or anything else about it, except that it did get destroyed by the plague of beasts, and that's what that says. And I said that Yharnam could be next. I'm bowing you the moon because I'm going to end this shit right now. It's over. So I'm gonna be quiet on some of these cutscenes and these talks because I want you guys to hear what's going on. And right now, before anything gets going, and I use some of these cold blood because I was like, oh, I could probably level up. There is major spoilers coming on. Most of my episodes are probably somewhat of a spoiler, but this one is a major spoiler because it is going to end this game. And if you haven't ended it and you don't want to ruin the ending, do not watch any more from this point on until you beat it. Now, if you don't care or you want to just listen, that's fine by me. I'm just giving y'all for a warning. That is what's going to happen here in a second. And I'm going to kind of go over a little bit about all 3 endings and what you can get and what the possibilities are. So, to kind of take a couple steps back to what we were talking about, I think it's interesting that the royal guards for Queen Annalise wore paper-thin silver armor. It's just very, very weird. What exactly is the reasoning behind that? Now, it's not. It says it's silver, so you know it's not like Quicksilver or anything like that, unless they messed up something. But so Quicksilver might make a little more sense because they hunt the hunters and they want their dregs, so maybe Quicksilver is kind of a deterrent. We're gonna look at these umbilical cords one last time. Just gonna go through them. I'm not gonna read them again, but the reason why is because you need 3 out of the 4 that are in the game right now. You need 3 to get this. I guess you could call it the special ending. You call it maybe the true ending to the game. So just know that you have to take these 3 for that to happen. Otherwise, you only get one of the other 2 endings. So it's pretty cool that there's actually a 3rd ending in this game, and that maybe they learned from their previous games that they should give you an actual true ending or something of a true ending that maybe you can say, I actually did succeed in doing something other than just re-causing something to happen over and over again. Who knows? Maybe it doesn't even matter. Maybe all 3 are the same thing. We're about to find out. So you gotta engulf these. They give you, I believe, 3 insight, but I'm already at 99, so I can't get above anything like that. Remember, the 4th umbilical cord, if you're looking for it, is from Ariana, and you have to find her after you kill Mikolash, but before you kill Murgo. So definitely, there's a little like frame of time, I believe, you can reach her before you can go on, which is, I think, is shitty that it's like right there, because you're playing the level, so you want to continue on, and the end of Mikolash isn't the end of that level, and it makes it blatantly obvious that it's not. So it's just very interesting that they chose that's where they wanted to put that. Just interesting, just like those knights we were talking about. Just interesting. Maybe there's some more there. I think it's just more to show that that's probably why they got their asses kicked by the executioners, was because their armor wasn't that great, and it was meant for more maybe against hunters and not so much as against people who are going to come after them with big ass wheels that are going to grind their bones down into the ground. And these guys are nuts. The cool thing I wanted to show you that is both the executioners and Cainhurst's guardians, or whatever you want to call them, both had helmets that again covered up their eyes. There wasn't, from what it looked like, there was nowhere they could really look out. So again, something where they cover their faces up. And I think Alfred is a good example to show that these people who are covering their eyes probably still have their eyes, because when you meet Alfred, he still has his eyeballs, and then he goes and kills the queen and he puts his helmet on to go do it. Now that doesn't mean every character does, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean that they all do, but it's like let's say Vicar Amelia, did she really rip out her eyeballs? You never really get to see them, but they could have been covered up. Same with like Willem, they could just be getting covered up. Now why is that? Is that because they want to look more inward, right? Remember, it's in sight, so maybe they have this idea that the inside, or eyes on the inside, right? Remember the umbilical cords, that it really truly means that, and that you have to block the world around you to even be able to see that. And maybe them taking it a little too far, or maybe there's some other reason. Maybe they don't want their eyeballs stolen. So maybe there's a great one out there who's jacking up eyeballs, and they don't want that to happen to them, so they got to hide them so that that doesn't occur. But there is, I believe the hat I'm wearing right now says that it covers up their eyes in what is it, for like to give credit or due to Master Willem and his ways of doing things. So it's very interesting that that eye stuff passes. That's one thing that passes down through all the generations throughout the game. You know, there's something to do with eyes. Maybe not the exact same thing is done in each like little section of ages, but it is there. And now I was looking at Gehrman. I don't think I ever noticed that his leg was like not there. I started looking. I was really looking around this area, as you noticed. I was just trying to check stuff out before I started out. Maybe I could see stuff. As you notice, the moon's peeping on us again. I swear some of that is in actual letters. Most of the game, most of the tombstones, you could not. It's not that you couldn't read it. Well, yeah, you couldn't read it because it wasn't in English, or it wasn't in letters, like actual alphanumeric letters. In this one, it seems like there are, because that looks like a 3 next to that big metal pole down at the bottom. Looks like an O and an N, but I can't read the rest of those letters. And it's just, and it doesn't necessarily, it might be in Latin for all I know. Like I can't read what that tombstone says at all. And the top part is pretty illegible, but it's not in the same language as the other tombstones, where it was a bunch of just like ruin symbols, what it really looked like before. These actually look like letters, but it's really hard to tell. They didn't make it very clear for you to read. Like that down at the bottom, that's an E and a J, like an L, E, and J, or an S. It's just like, yeah, and I sat here for a while, and that's why I keep looking at it, because I was like, maybe I can make out words. I can make out the 3, maybe 30. It could be maybe some like little saying that the game put in that has nothing to do with anything. The other thing I was looking at is this big ass tree that is like the shittiest looking tree I've ever seen. Like, if you look at it, it looks Lego-y, right? Like it's built by pieces. Now I don't know if it's done like that on purpose, or if you're not really supposed to be looking up there at it. But if you really look at it, it's very polygonal. It's not rounded. It's very, just looks like it's built together. It could, like I said, it could just be a graphical thing where that's just the way they made it, or there could be a reason why they made it look like that. Maybe intentionally to make it look a little fake, to kind of give you a feeling that not everything is real. Who knows, right? More than likely, I think they just didn't really care about the way you weren't really supposed to kind of look at it like that. So I'm about to start this fight, and I think I'm gonna be quiet.
Good hunter, you've done well. The night is near its end. Now, I will show you mercy. You will die, forget the dream, and awake under the morning sun. You will be freed from this terrible hunter's dream.
Alright. Huh. That's very interesting. That is some stuff he said there. He's maybe giving you some big stuff there. Basically saying, this is a dream. And if I kill you, you wake up. But let's keep watching.
Dear, oh dear. What was it? The hunt? The blood? Or the horrible dream? Oh, it doesn't matter. It always comes down to the hunter's helper to clean up after these sorts of messes. Tonight, Gehrman joins the hunt.
Tonight, Gehrman joins the hunt. That kind of reminds me of fucking like Smash Brothers, where when every time they introduce a new character, I don't know why, it just always reminds me of that. I don't know if they were playing off of that or what, but That was pretty funny. So this first go around, I do die. He's actually pretty tough. He's probably one of the tougher bosses in the game. Definitely one of the tougher human bosses in the game. He has some moves that will just outright kill you, especially a little bit later. He has, I think technically 3 different kind of phases, I guess you could say. There's this one where he holds his scythe two-handed, then he switches it up where he changes it to a sword and a pistol, and then he has a sword and like a blunderbuss, and then he has then like halfway through he kind of charges up and he uses like the moon. If you watch him, he uses like the moon to charge himself up, and he does like an explosion with some moon power, and then that's kind of the fight. But at the end he becomes when you see me hit him here, like you see I kind of stagger him a bit. Later on in the fight he doesn't, he's not able to be staggered by anything. You can parry him, and in fact, or repulse him, or however you want to call it, and that's probably the way to best to beat him, and you'll see me do that when I do beat him in the next fight. That's how I take him down, is I kind of just had to learn his moves and learn his little speed, because he does have some delays on some attacks. He doesn't have delays on the other attacks. It's very non-intuitive fight, so you gotta sit here and kind of learn it, and it took me a while. He was not an easy fight. He probably took me about as much time as a Bratoss did. There are some, I believe, tricks and things like that you can use to beat him. I heard that you can use the lead elixir, and you see that actually I think in the next fight I have it on my inventory, but I think I do, maybe not. I think I tried it out, and it does kind of make it a little easier. I didn't know that was an insta-kill. So when he starts praying to the moon, he like looks up at the moon and he holds his arms out. When he's starting to do that, he's going to do an explosion attack. It's an insta-kill. His actual counter, he can parry you, and when he does, that actually won't kill you. I guess it might if you're at a lower level, but at the level that I'm at, I think it's like 85 or 86, it didn't kill me outright. But as you can see, in this fight, in this instance of my fight, you can tell that I've gotten a lot more used to him, and I'm trying to parry him a lot more. And I think that's probably I don't want to say the easiest way, but definitely the way I went about it, because I felt like, to me, it was easier than trying to use like the lead elixir tactic or anything like that. Basically, with the lead elixir, what you're going to do is you're going to use the item, and what it does is, what the lead elixir does is basically make you slow as shit, but you can still dash around. And then what happens is you're able to dash like one of his attacks and then charge up your next one, and he'll try to hit you, but it's not going to take you out of your charged dual hand for your axe, and you should be able to hit him and get all your health back as he has his wailing on you. It's a very iffy strategy, but it does work. I'm guessing people say it does. So like I said, I didn't go with that. It's that route. I went with this route. I did try it out to see what it was like, just to test it out, but you know, do whatever you have to beat this guy. There's other tactics, I think, also out there other than just these two, but as you notice, mine is I like the parry. So that's the way to deal with him. It's gonna come down to some skill. Like, there's gonna be some skill involved. It's not gonna be a straight easy fight. However, after you fight him, you'll see the secret ending boss of the game, and he's way easier than Gehrman. He's actually very simple. All you got to do is just get behind him, treat him like, I think the best way to do it is just treat him like you did Dark Beast Parl, and try to like dash into him, or like Amygdala, or how you saw me fight Amygdala, where I kept dashing into him. That's kind of the way I treated the fight. It took me, I think, like 2 or 3 tries, and I beat him. While against Gehrman, it took me like, I don't know, 20 tries or some shit like that. It was quite a bit. The good thing about Gehrman is that the boss run back is not that far. It's super close, and it's a fun fight. I did actually enjoy fighting him. So, and you do get to have his badass weapon if you're wondering. So, a knight in the dream world. What the fuck? presence. Very interesting little cutscene there. So let's kind of, I already talked about the boss and how to deal with him. So let's talk about what kind of went down just now. The doll tells us that Gehrman is waiting for us by the tree, so we come in this place, which is the graveyard, which we've known as the graveyard since, damn, he wanted to be the first time. And we know this is where they bury all the old hunters, right? Interesting, because Gehrman, when we talked to him, he says that, hey buddy, good job. You did what we needed to, or you did what you had to. That's not necessarily we, but it looks like a we when you get to this point. And he's like, but I'm gonna put you out of your misery, but don't worry, because really what I'm doing is I'm saving you, and you will wake up in the real, what seems to be like he's saying is the real world. And this is I think this is the first time you're really told that the hunter's dream is terrible. He says, I'm gonna release you from the terrible hunter's dream. He's calling this place terrible. Now, if you remember, as you're walking around, sometimes you can catch him out in his little garden area. He's stuck on that thing. You catch him out in the garden area, and he's dreaming to himself. In the first dream, he's asking Lawrence, why is he taking so long? But in the second dream, if you ever get it, he sounds like he's having a nightmare. And basically, he sounds like he's weeping or crying. And he's wondering what's taking Willem or Lawrence like so long. He's like, what's, I'm stuck here, like help. Like it seems like he's asking for their help, or something's going on there, right? That makes me really think that something happened with Gehrman, where either he sacrificed himself or something happened to him, and he's wondering why his friends, or even Willem, when he says it, it sounds like he's saying Lawrence, which sounds like his friend, and then he says Willem, which makes it sound like he's kind of distanced from him, but that even he's like asking for his help and asking why it's taking so long for y'all, right? What's taking so long for you to get me out of here, is what it really sounds like he's saying when you catch him out in this garden. So, what happened to Gehrman? What is this history behind him? Is it gonna be something we're gonna look into more, like where we're actually able to figure this out? Maybe with some stuff we might be able to come up with some facts, right, and come up with like a little bit about what exactly happened. But I don't know if we're ever gonna get a true answer to his history unless they come out with some DLC or something about him, which I could see them doing, right? I think you're gonna maybe treat him kind of like an Artorias, where they're gonna kind of come out with a little bit more of his backstory and whatnot, so that we understand a little bit about what happened at that time and in the age of the Bergenworth scholars and things like that. I wouldn't doubt it. So I think they're going to do that. So for right now, a lot of his history is still mystery. That kind of rhymes. And it's going to be, you're just going to know little things here and there about who he is. However, he like if you, so what happened? Oh, let me be quiet again. Let me be quiet again.
Are you cold? Oh, good hunter.
All right. God damn you, Miyazaki. Damn you. Damn you. Well, first thing I like to say is it's a great game. I love this. Bloodborne has been amazing. It's been a super, super, super fun game. Definitely up there with Demon Souls, if not better than Demon Souls. They did about everything they could have, I think, right. There are some things wrong, here and there, like the load times, probably my biggest gripe. But for overall, this game is really, really good. I don't know this year if there's going to be a game that beats this game out, as for me at least, for being my top game of the year. The only thing I can think maybe even come close to me, I'm trying to think of all the games coming out. Anything that might come close for me, at least anyways, will be maybe Final Fantasy 15. And I played the demo not too long ago that came with that other game that I don't even remember the name of. I've only bought it for the demo for 15, but that game might be the only thing that even comes close, but I don't know if it's going to beat this. This game is super good. I love the puzzle story. I love the combat. I love everything about it. It's just really, it's really done really well. So that's kind of my spiel on that. So let's get back to the lore stuff. Definitely want to hit that up. So right when you go talk to Gehrman, you get two choices. And he says, I'll put you out of your misery. You'll wake up in the world and you won't, you'll be able to, sounds like he's like, you'll be able to live your life and you'll be fine. And so that's very interesting. Now, you get two choices. You get to be like, all right, Gehrman, slice my throat and we'll get on with it. Or you can say you refuse. Those are the original two endings of the game, right? So if, minus the umbilical cord stuff that I took, those would be the two choices you're given. So if you do end up dying, and what happens is you end up, I believe, waking up in the world, and I think you get a. I have to look this back up, but I should have looked this up before I start talking about it. But if I remember right, you wake up in the world, what seems to be like a peaceful Yharnam, but the other thing is I believe you get to see the doll kneeling at your grave. So that's the first ending, and the second, I think it's like the Sunrise of Yharnam, I believe is the achievement you get with that one. Then the second ending, if you refuse, all right, you have to fight Gehrman like I did, and you have to beat him. Once you beat him, though, the moon essence comes down, and you know how he grabs you and he puts you like his head up against your stomach area, which I find is weird. We'll talk about that a little bit, but he puts his head up against your stomach area. And then what ends up happening in that, though, is because you don't have these umbilical cords, he ends up basically, he doesn't kill you, but you take Gehrman's spot. So you end up killing Gehrman, and what I think is actually you're freeing him. You end up freeing Gehrman, because if he kills you, he frees you, right? So if you kill him, you free him for whatever burden. So you actually save Gehrman. Hopefully he wakes back up into Yharnam, or he might have been too old, or he might have died, but at least he's released from his prison, and you kind of save him in that aspect. And then, but you end up taking his place, and then the ending is the doll's pushing you around, and you get to be the next Gehrman, and the cycle continues with the moon essence. That's the second ending. So those are your two endings if you don't end up taking the umbilical cords, which to me kind of seems basically like either way, whatever you do, the cycle continues. All right. So yeah, if you die, Gehrman still sits in the seat, and they're going to have another night of the hunt sooner or later. Or if you kill him, at least you release him in some aspects, saving his life. But you still are going to be continuing the cycle of the moon essence and whatever his whole spiel is. Now, the third ending, the one I got, you get the umbilical cords. You put them inside you. I don't know how. There's no animation figure like what you actually do, except that you burst it and you gain, I guess, the knowledge and insight behind it. But remember, those cords do have a lot of eyeballs on them, so I'm guessing in some way or form, maybe you put a bunch of eyeballs inside you. That's the only thing I can think of, because remember, one of them did say Willem was seeking the cords because he wanted eyeballs. So that's kind of what you do, and you got 3 of them, and you take all 3 and you do it to yourself. Now what ends up happening is the moon essence does the exact same thing, puts his head up against your stomach, and then all of a sudden he backs away, and he either looks like he's frightened or he's mad. And you can take him as one or the other. To me, it looks like he's kind of like shocked more than anything. And I don't want to say like he's frightened, but more, yeah, like more, I think shocked is a better word, like what the hell. And then you have to fight him, and then what ends up happening is you kill him and you get the achievement where you become, it basically says that you become a great one, it says you become an infant great one, and you've you brought humanity to its next childhood, is what is exactly what I believe, pretty close to exactly what the achievement says, which is very, very, very strange wording, especially the last part where it says you bring humanity to the next childhood. Or next cycle of childhood, or something like that is what it says. It's very strange, that last part. The infant great one part, I can live with that, because that's kind of what the whole game is. But then it's saying you rose humanity to the next show. What does that mean, right? Because ultimately, to me, it seems like, am I still going to be able to control myself as a Great One? Because if I can, then I can see my ability. I would actually be able to stop the cycle, and I can kind of do whatever I want and be maybe a cool, benevolent Great One, since that's my character, and I can pick however I want that person to be. But however, if you don't really control it, and that role is whatever that role is stated for you, then you're just going to continue the cycle. Except now you're the Great One, and the only thing you did differently in this case is that you ended the Moon Essence Great One. You kind of became the Moon Essence. I guess you really can't say you're the Moon Essence, because you're your own Great One. You're the new infant Great One. So you're part of that, but you're also part human. So maybe there's something to do with that, right? The doll picks you up in your little slug tentacle-like form, and she talks to you and says, "Are you cold?" All this other stuff. But you're still in the hunter's dream. You're still, there's still a big-ass moon in the background, and you're still in that area, so I don't know if it's gonna, but you know, the one thing you do not notice doesn't mean it's not there, is there's no like Gehrman or person in a wheelchair. So I think in a way it's trying to show that things are gonna be different this time around, that you've advanced humanity, because now you're part Great One, part human, which kind of makes you maybe more advanced than what other things are. That's total speculation. You can't really say that is exactly what it is, but you've reached a higher plane, and that you've brought humanity to the next child, which also to me means that no one else has done it yet, and you're kind of the first one to do it. What is your cool ass Great One name? No, choose it. I'm kind of going through this little first area because I really wanted to check out that weapon, and I kind of wanted to show it to you guys. You end up getting the old hunter badge, and we'll look at what it says, and then we'll look at what the weapon says that you can buy with it. And I didn't check. Actually, I should have. I don't think I do, though. I believe you can actually go check to see what his armor says, too. I don't know if you actually get his armor, though, or not. Actually, I don't think you do. I don't think you actually can get it. But you can get his sick-ass scythe weapon. And it's actually got a pretty cool moveset. So, I'm going to be showing that off. So that's what I'm doing right here. So those are the 3 endings you can get. As far as anyone knows right now, those are the only 3 that you can get. So it is showing some kind of cycle is happening, right? Where there's some reason, and then you can take it a step further than Gehrman. For some reason, the moon, that voice right there, by the way, who says that line, it sounds a hell of a lot like the doll. I think a lot of people think it's Yosefka, but I think it's actually the doll that says it, because she seems to be kind of in tune with the messengers. She says another line early on in the game where she talks about the messengers and how they're like alive to serve the hunters, and they seem to be super happy about you. Anyways, kind of off subject. It's just very interesting to see that you can probably say Gehrman is basically being used, right? And I think that's the whole point of listening to his dreams and listening to what he's doing when he's sleeping. He doesn't want to be there, but it's kind of like he's almost forced to be there. For some reason or another, either he's just trapped there and he has no other choice, or you hear his true feelings when he's asleep. And it's, you know, it's kind of like that, like when you're awake you give your true feelings, but when you dream, you know, you dream of whatever you want. So it's the opposite, right? In the dream he's dreaming, he's being the person that he's supposed to be, but when he's dreaming he's being the real Gehrman, right? Or something like that. You can think of it like that. And it definitely seems like he's trapped, though, and he's held against his will, which at the end of the game it seems like the Moon Essence is the thing holding him against his will. Once you find the Moon Essence, and when you're able to do the right thing, you transcend the hunt. And you remember the very first note that I ran right by and I didn't look at, but I've looked at before, is that, you know, you seek pale blood to transcend the hunt. He seems to be the way to transcend it. To me, when you transcend something, that means you're able to surpass it. That you surpass it and you're able to stop it. And to truly stop this, you need to take him out. This is the only thing I can think of. Now, like I said, there's nothing that says 100% sure that now that you're the new Great One, or you're the new infant Great One, or whatnot, that things are going to be different. But it does seem like that you are going to be different type of thing, right? Let's just say call it a thing, or call it a monster, or call it a being. You're going to be a different type of being, something the world's never seen. And you brought humanity to this level. Because you're what it makes it sound like, it sounds like you're the first to do it. That no one's really been able to do it yet. because you're a badass. So so it kind of gives you that fulfilling ending, and hopefully that's kind of what happens. I was actually looking at this because I couldn't tell if I think that's the sun. So you do see the sun actually in this game at the very beginning before shit goes south, and so that means Nightmare Frontier is not the only place that has a little bit of sunlight, but at least Yharnam does for a little bit at the beginning. Yeah, so this, like I said, that ending is a strange one, but it does kind of help point to you what exactly was kind of going on. I guess those would be the best words to use. And the moon essence is definitely part of the whole thing, right? And it seems like he's kind of like the controller, and but for some reason, remember, the game ends after you kill Murgo's wet nurse. For some reason, hey, I skipped another loading screen. For some reason, once you kill Murgo's wet nurse, then he's like, okay, you did your job, and now come over here so we can end you and do whatever we need with you. My thing is now is to connect why does he want that to happen. You know, we can go back and look at all the history and all that stuff all you want, and some of those things may hint at what the reasonings are, but you really need to figure out why Moon Essence wants Murgo's wet nurse dead, or for some reason wants you to do it, because once you do that, the game's over, right? So that's the mission, that's the total goal of the whole game. That's your climax, your conflict, and for whatever reason, that's what he wants. If you figure that out, I believe a lot of the other stuff will kind of unravel itself. So the hardest part about that, though, is figuring that out. So there's the burial blade. I guess I didn't look at. Oh, I did look at it. I just didn't put it in the video. Oops, my bad. I did actually look at it. It says that it's made from siderite, and that it's basically his weapon. I don't think there's much else that it says. It doesn't talk to him. There was nothing when I read it where I was like, oh, or nothing like that. So, but instead it does talk about how it's made of siderite. Also, kind of tying it in with the weapon that what's-her-faces use, the Hunters of Hunters use. Their weapon's also siderite, which kind of makes me think there was this inner turmoil between his apprentice and him, because I really think the apprentice used the Blades of Mercy, and he apparently used this weapon, and they kind of started out in that way. Who knows? There might be some connection there. This is it, guys. That's the end of the game. It's all over, and now we just got to figure out and put it all together and actually come up with something that makes sense in some way or form that's based off some kind of facts, and not necessarily just me blabbling and trying to figure it out. So this is the last episode of the actual lore and gameplay, but I will be coming out with what I think is going on, and it's going to hopefully be based off a lot of item descriptions and visuals of the game and all that other stuff, and not just speculation. But there will probably be some speculation. What I was thinking is maybe doing like on every episode being like, here's all the stuff the game says, and this is what you can kind of think of it, and then kind of giving my spiel and what I think is going on, and then letting people refute it and being like, you're dumb, dude. You're an idiot. And that's fine, and that is completely fine, and I will sit here and I will take it like a gentleman, and I will be fine with whatever you say. So guys, with that being said, I am Dunskies with this series. I will be starting my next series as soon as I can, when I can. It might take me maybe a couple days to get all my stuff together and figure out how I'm going to do it, but I'll definitely get it done. So I'll see y'all then. Peace out, guys. Until next time.